Om Shanti and welcome back to Light of Knowledge International. We have a very special guest with us today, Brother Nizar. He is a chairman of 80 companies, and also the future of power is his brainchild. How does he manage all these companies plus his personal life? What is the source of the strength? We'll talk to him in detail about these. Brother Nizar, welcome to the show and welcome to Godlywood Studio.
Thank you.
We'd like to start off by asking you, the future of power is your brainchild. And if you can talk to us a little bit about that, what is future of power? How did you conceive that idea?
Future of power has been going now for 8 years.
Okay.
So we are in the 9th year.
Okay.
And it's about power.
Okay.
But we talk about, we have a list of 20 different professions.
Okay.
And we invite 2 or 3 people who are the top, the head of those professions in each state or city where we hold the program. And we invite these people to have a dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And we discuss with them about what is power, the various different types of power.
Mm-hmm. So what is the answer that you get from them most of the time?
It's a little bit more complicated than that. Okay. I cannot give it to you in one word.
Okay.
But you see, we talk about power as being something which is important to everybody.
Sure.
Everybody also influences people.
Sure.
And we say that the more people that listen to you when you speak is how much power you have.
Mm-hmm.
We also discuss a great deal about the various different kinds of power. So even a country has power.
Sure.
And world power also shifts from country to country.
Mm-hmm.
So 2,500 years ago, until 2,500 years ago, a world power was here in Bharat.
In India, in Bharat. Okay.
And then it started to shift from here. Went to many countries, not necessarily in the order in which I'm going to say them.
Sure.
But it went to China, went to Egypt, went to Greece, went to Rome, went to Spain, went to Great Britain.
Sure.
You know, when they were able to say that the sun does not set on our empire. And finally, it is now in the United States of America.
Right.
When power was here in Bharat, it was what we call soft power.
Okay, and what do you mean by that?
Because we are ruled, we were ruled by benevolent kings. They cared for their people.
Okay.
So they ruled for the benefit of their people.
Okay.
So our people were then not so independent. They were dependent on the rulers because they also trusted their rulers.
Okay.
As power moved away from Bharat to other countries, it became slowly harder and harder.
So you're saying there was no connection between the rulers and...
Well, the rulers then became actually rulers, you know, with the whip or with the gun or with whatever.
Okay.
And today the definition of power is how many guns and missiles do I have and what is the state of my bank balance.
Oh, yeah.
So that is now the definition of power.
Right.
So we've shifted
Yes.
from soft power all the way into very hard power.
What a big difference, yeah.
Now, but power, world power also keeps shifting.
You mean from country to country?
Yeah, and it continues. This shift is continuing. And power is coming back again to the East.
Okay.
because it's done the whole cycle, and now it's coming back.
Oh, very interesting.
So we believe that power is coming back to here in Bharat.
Okay.
The question, therefore, is, are we also going to rule with the gun? Or can we start adopting the soft power?
Right.
And I think that soft power is the Indian way.
Right.
We have always adopted this attitude that we want to be not the ones which are creating war. We want to have peaceful existence.
Right.
Even today, we are ruled so much by our religions and by our spirituality,
Right.
rather than by other ways.
Right.
Our everyday formalities include so much that is part of our spiritual culture.
Right.
There are more temples in India than practically anywhere else in the world.
Right.
And I think that even our rulers, for example, our Prime Minister Modi, wanted to have a World Day of Yoga.
Right.
And he went to United Nations and said,
Right.
I think we should have it.
Right.
And straight away, so many countries agreed to it. And today, 25th of June, I think, is the date when World Yoga Day is being respected.
Yes.
And it's mostly dictated to by India. I think that power, when it comes back here, this question then we need to ask ourselves, that what do we need to do in order to adopt soft power?
This need comes because right now, the way we look at Bharat, we have also lost this ability to have the soft power, right?
I think so, because, we have also been drawn more and more to the West.
Correct.
And the British had the philosophy that if they could rule India successfully, they first of all changed our education system, because we had a Gurukul system of education, which was probably the best in the world.
Sure.
So they changed that for us. They took our school system. And then in everything that we were taught that anything which is foreign is superior to anything which is local.
Okay.
So the end result of that is, even today, we believe that anything which is foreign is superior to anything which is local.
Right.
However, if you look at the history of the world, and I'm not saying this in order to encourage nationalism, that's not my point. The point is that so much that has happened in the world in terms of inventions have come from Bharat.
Yes.
I can give you a list from zero to flights, to algebra, to trigonometry, to so many things. The whole of the chemistry inventions, the whole of medicine, the whole of surgery, all of that has actually come from India.
Bharat,
Now, we need to bring that back to the minds of our people, because they are so drawn to the West that the West is actually far superior to the East.
And they are brainwashed too, like you mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I've just said was in 1835 taken by a member of parliament into the British Parliament, and he talked about it, and we have the Hansard. These are the records of the Parliament. And he said that I have traveled the length and breadth of this country, India. And these people, Indians, have a very high level of self-esteem. There are no thieves here. 1835.
Right.
And he says, therefore, it's difficult to rule over this country. The only way in which we can achieve this is by taking over the education system
Okay.
and by making them believe that anything which is foreign, i.e. British, is superior to anything which is
Indian.
local.
Wow.
So I think it's a big thing. They achieved this.
They
did achieve it.
Yes.
And unfortunately now we are
a product of that.
Yeah, we have to reverse this.
Right.
We want to neutralize.
Correct.
We don't want to take our people backwards.
Right.
But we want to neutralize what is false.
Sure.
So self-esteem is the one
First,
thing that we
right.
need to bring back.
Right.
The second is that anything which is foreign is not superior to anything which is local.
Right.
The third is I want to bring back soft power into my life first.
Okay.
If I start with my life, then I can also influence the people in my family, then the influence of the people that I work with,
Correct.
then my village, then my
Correct.
city, then
True.
and so on.
True.
So I think that this is the purpose of what soft power is aiming to do,
Right.
is to bring soft power back.
to Bharat.
Now, we are saying Bharat, but actually we are running Future of Power in many other countries as well.
Okay.
We've run 66, we've run Future of Power in 66 cities all over the world.
Wow.
So we've done the majority in India, but we've also done in Nepal, we've done it in United States of America, we've also done it in Australia. And we are continuing. We are holding a program in August in Manila, in the Philippines, for example. So, soft power can be brought to anyone, anywhere.
Okay.
That doesn't necessarily have to be in Bharat.
Okay.
I think that we are a little bit biased, so we did it in more cities in Bharat than anywhere else. But I think our purpose of Future of Power is to bring soft power to whoever attends our programs.
Right.
And I think that we want to influence this to more. So our program is about how to bring soft power into your life.
Right.
And that means that, we need to, if I decide today that I don't want to give you sorrow, that means that I have started the process of soft power being introduced in my life.
That's very true.
Okay? Because we are constantly giving sorrow to each other. If I decide that I want to learn to meditate, it's part of soft power because it brings betterment to my life, to the way in which I live my life. It reduces my stress. It reduces fear. And allows me to focus on what's important.
That's wonderful.
And that's what meditation is all about.
So do you bring the meditation as is taught at Brahma Kumaris, the Rajyoga Meditation, do you bring that to your Future of Power conferences?
Yes.
Okay.
We can only touch on it and only give people a glimpse of it.
Okay.
Sometimes we give that experience as well.
Okay.
We believe that if you want to do yourself a favor and change the way you run your life, then the first thing you need to learn is how to meditate. When we do these programs in so many cities and countries now, when I ask the participants, how many of you do quiet time? You call it contemplation, you call it whatever you call it, or you call it meditation. 60 to 70% of all those people present will say, yes, we are doing some kind.
Okay.
So this is now becoming an everyday thing.
Sure.
It's becoming, most of the hospitals in the world use this, for example, for abuse of alcohol, drugs, abuse of food. All of these kind of things are now, meditation is a cure for many other ailments as well.
So they're relearning the power of meditation.
And I think that now I have a grandson who lives in Australia. He's 6 years old.
Okay.
He is being taught meditation in his school.
How nice.
I, in fact, asked him and say, so how do you meditate? He told me. So I said, what are you thinking about? He said, nothing, silly. That's what we are supposed to do. So at whatever age, in whatever method, I think that meditation is now the need
Of the hour.
the time.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that more and more people want to have a power that I can use at any time.
Right.
One day, an old friend told me that there are 3 things in life that you have to adopt that will stay with you all your life, whatever is your age. One is golf.
Okay.
Second is bridge, because that doesn't take effort. It just takes the gray cells. You can sit anywhere, but use your gray cells and you can play bridge all your life. And third, I have added is meditation.
Sure.
Because that will also last with you all your life.
True.
And that is something that gives you peace, it gives you power, it gives you humility, it reduces the level of stress that you have. And so it's the best thing that
anybody can,
to do.
Right.
So as I was saying that, so we give them the experience of meditation, but lots of other things that they can bring into their lives through which they can feel that they are bringing soft power into their life. So when we say future power, what is the future of power? That the strongest power is spiritual power.
Yes.
Because that is something that will stay with you. And I am the example of that.
Okay, because that was going to be my question to you. You are the chairman of 80 companies, and this is no small matter. You know, people find it hard to manage 1 or 2 companies. So how did you do that, and how did you get that power? And was Rajyoga meditation a tool that helped you?
Absolutely. I found Rajyoga knowledge some 27 years ago. And as I got more and more involved in that and started adopting the knowledge, the techniques which are being taught, and it's not so difficult that people cannot adopt it quickly. So you learn how to control stress, for example. You know, because the biggest killer
is stress. Yes.
The second is fear. The third is anger.
Right.
When I was my old self, I was a very angry young man.
Oh, wow.
And everybody wanted to move away from my path. I came into my office. And I found that there was nothing wrong with that. I thought to myself, I'm the boss. They should be scared of me.
Right. That I have heard from a lot, that they think anger is natural. Yeah.
So, but as I learned more and more, I realized that anything that you do through anger, the result of that is negative.
Right.
And from experience, I ask any of our viewers to think back and say, have they achieved anything positive through anger?
No.
And I think you will find that if they are being truthful, very little is being achieved through anger.
Right.
Now, being angry and being drunk is exactly the same.
Okay.
Because what happens is that when you become angry, the intellect is no longer functional.
True. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
So, you think you're right.
Yeah.
Nobody can change your mind.
Right.
Because you are not listening to logic. Logic has gone out the window. And you keep on thumping tables. But because the intellect is not there, the vocabulary is gone. That's why we start swearing.
True.
Because there's no logic, no intellect.
Right.
Everything's gone out the window, exactly like when you're drunk.
True.
The other thing is, if you are sitting normally like now, we go through 10, 15 thoughts a minute.
Okay.
Even when we are sitting quietly, we think
Peaceful.
we are not really thinking,
right.
but still there are 10 or 15 thoughts a
Okay.
minute. Now, when you become angry or you have fear, you are afraid, you are in a state of panic, then the number of thoughts go up from 10, 15 to 20, 30, 40, 50
Oh, wow.
a minute.
A minute. Okay.
The more the number of thoughts, the less powerful is your intellect.
True.
So, you're not thinking anymore. You have no power to control your intellect.
Right.
Fortunately, the opposite is true. So the less the number of thoughts, the more powerful is your intellect.
Right.
So what we need to do is to bring down the number of thoughts from 15, 10 to 5 to 2 to 1.
Is that possible?
It's possible.
1 thought per minute.
No, yes, because that is what meditation teaches you.
Okay.
That you have to focus on what's important. Thought. Then your intellect is the most powerful.
Yeah.
So when people say that I can multitask, I can do 5 things at the same time, they are spoiling all the 5.
True.
You need to spend less time on each thing, but you need to focus only on that.
That's good advice, yeah.
So even now, I need to focus on here and now.
Correct.
Not what happened 5 minutes ago or what's going to happen 5 minutes from now.
True.
That's not important. That way, we can keep our intellect powerful. And I think that more and more and more, that's part of that whole process. You ask me, how can I run 80 companies? Before I found Rajyoga, I was running maybe 7, 8 companies.
Okay.
But I was constantly in a state of stress. Constantly. And not only that, but I used to take pride in the fact that I give stress to everybody around me.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was the case. But so everybody that was in a state of stress around me, including myself, were not thinking straight.
Right.
We didn't have our intellect functioning properly. We were doing all the wrong things. Right? In Japan, for many years now, senior executives are not allowed to drive to their place of meeting. Because they would go through stress driving. When they got to their meeting, their intellect is not fully operational.
That's very interesting.
So I think that we need to learn from that. We need to learn and say, how can I be the most powerful?
Right.
You know, if I want my intellect to be constantly powerful, I need to focus on what I am doing, but only that one thing.
Right.
And if you learn meditation, that will teach you more and more and more how to focus on what's important.
Brother Nizar, thank you so much for this wonderful discussion, because you have, brought some different perspective. I mean, the soft power and bringing it back to India, to Bharat, and also the power of meditation in your life, that changed you, that transformed you completely. So I'm sure this has been a great inspiration to all of us that are watching us today. And we've had such a great time with you that we would like to have you back in our Godlywood studio.
That'll be a pleasure.
Okay.
I'll be delighted.
Thank you. Brother Nizar has put forward some very important points to us, that meditation plays a big role in our life. And like he said, there is golf, and then there is bridge, and then there is meditation. So leaving the light side apart, spirituality is a very important aspect in our life. So we look forward to seeing you again and seeing Brother Nizar back with us. Until then, take care and Om Shanti.